Anyway, so I just wanted to have this sort of conversation, right, about this self-improvement sort of lifestyle, right, and how you can further immerse yourself in it, okay, and make it easier to just live it as a lifestyle, you know. I want you to think of it this way, right? In the many conversations that you have, okay, with the people you know, maybe your friends, and how often do you actually bring up your journey on self-improvement? How often do you bring up the tasks that you do? The whether it be the activities that you go on. Maybe you went on a hike, or a specific run, or maybe you broke your PR at the gym, or you spoke to so many people and you were experimenting. How often do you bring these things up in conversation? Things that you've done, things you can be proud of. Now, why do I ask this question? Well, I ask this question because what you'll find is the more you talk about the things that you've done, the things that you're doing on this lifestyle path, right? What it does is it not only reinforces to other people that this is what you're doing, but to yourself within. Okay, if you're able to talk about something that you're doing in real time, it kind of reinforces to yourself that, yes, this is who I am. Okay, it gives you this sort of feeling of, identity. Okay, if I'm able to, for example, take it this way, right? If I'm able to talk to someone, okay, and I don't even know who this person is, let's just say this is a random person that I've met on the street, right? And I'm telling him, every week I'm doing cardio, I'm doing half marathons every week, and I'm doing Ks and miles. I'm running miles, I'm running a lot, I'm practicing in a boxing gym. I've got a sparring partner, and we link up every Thursday and every Tuesday, and we work on the pads a lot. And I'm doing the basic, what I'm trying to say. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm trying to talk to this stranger and walk him through what my kind of weekly routine is in terms of in boxing, relating to boxing, right? And what this does is, to that person, they'll be thinking to themselves, oh, okay, this person's quite active, he does boxing, and he's got a good head on his shoulders and whatever else, right? But what you'll find is, what this does to yourself is it further reinforces the fact that, yes, I am a boxer, for example, right? Now, how can we take this over into our lives? It's really simple, and it's simply just what I've been saying, which is that it's important for us to literally just sort of relay that onto other people, things that we do, sorting out our sleep. There's so many people out there who have little to no sleep schedule, and it's crazy. Okay, you might be one of them, okay, but it's something that at least you're thinking about it. Some people don't care. You might be someone that doesn't care, and you need to be able to understand that as an issue. There's so many people out there that just eat whatever they come across, whatever, they're walking through city center. And I'm not talking about like an outing with your friends. That's fine, okay? I'm talking, they're on this work week cycle, right? And they're walking through the city center to find transport to get back home. And obviously they're hungry, so they just see some next at McDonald's or some next place, right? And then that's their dinner. That's their form of food. Okay, that's their method of food. Eating out at these unhealthy restaurants where they're, replenish the seed oils. All right, I'll go into that in another video, right? But essentially, the food isn't always the best, especially on such a constant basis. Okay, so to some people that's normal. So the ability to just sort of relay and speak about your experiences and things that you're doing to improve your life day in, day out, they really sort of help form this foundation within you. And that's something that you should really strive to continue to do as often as possible, whenever you're just having these social encounters with people, okay? And here's one thing that has just come across my mind as I've been speaking. What you'll find is you, in doing so, you know, telling people about your life and the good things you've been doing and how you've been improving your sleep or your diet, how you've been really locked in the gym, and you know, the gains that you've made, and it's really made you really clear in your thinking. It's just little things like that, right? Just to name a few examples. What that does is it actually helps the listener. The person hearing you will actually, even if it's not an immediate sort of reaction, what you've done right there is you've planted a seed within that person, and you've, it's just like a drop in the ocean. Okay, sometimes that's all you need to do, really. But in doing so, what you've helped them do is just, even if it's for a second, think. Okay, think about a better life. That might not be your goal, that might be your goal, but I'm just saying this is the outcome of doing such thing. Okay, now obviously I would argue the benefits are better. All right, the benefits you receive are better than what you might be putting out in doing so, but that's just on that hand. On the other hand, that's also a benefit that comes with sort of this sort of, how would I package this in the terms of like what you're doing right here. You know what, lack of better word, we'll just call it mirrored personality. Okay, your personality is going out into, and this, you think of this person you're speaking to as a mirror. Okay, whatever you're putting out, it's going to hit the mirror and it's going to come back to you. Okay, and you're going to take it in, and it's going to help you improve, and it's going to help you, you know, make these things come to life, essentially. Okay, so this is a cheeky little thing I wanted to talk about, something I journaled on, and yeah, you know, and I believe it's a really strong thing to do. You know, you don't need to live in silence, you know, even in monk mode, as some people do go on. You don't need to be so secretive. You know, some of you live with your parents, and you know, you're on this self-improvement, you know, you're telling them, oh, I'm going to be so much more distant, you know, I'm just trying to do this new thing, you know, and you don't even talk to them about the things you're doing, and you know, your own people in your household. Right, bro, you don't need to be so distant and so cold and so isolated from the rest of society. You don't need to do that. Just because you might think your lifestyle path is a little bit different to others doesn't mean you need to, you know, treat yourself as any different necessarily. Okay, you can still socialize with people and in your family and stuff like that. And one thing I don't want you to do is, and I'll probably go into more depth about this in a future video, don't put others down necessarily, okay, for not being so strict, not being so immersed in this lifestyle path that you're on. Okay, this obviously self-improvement and just, you know, improving your mental clarity and your physical strength and stuff like that, right? You don't need to look at others like they are scum. You don't need to do that, okay? It will affect how you engage with people in social dynamics, and that's just the truth, okay? And you'll find your social strength is, sorry, you'll find your social strength, you'll find your social skills are actually a very, very prized ability nowadays. In a world where nobody knows how to have a cordial conversation, you know, nobody knows how to speak eloquently in a way that can be understood, you'll find doing whatever you can to improve your skill in your speech and in these social environments, doing whatever you can to, you know, optimize that, yields far greater results than, you know, just binge watching whatever and scrolling all day and, you know, engaging in the activities that the masses do. And so, yeah, if you did enjoy that video, I've got a couple more. They'll be somewhere on the screen over here. And obviously, subscribe to me. I want to put it down here. Okay. And yeah, I'm gonna see you guys soon.